Hello everyone, and I'm Beastly Eel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about my predictions for the next death battle. So the next death battle is between Deku from My Hero Academia versus Miles Morales, aka Spider-Man, from Marvel. So one thing that I have to say for sure is I don't think I ever knew that these two characters were so similar. In the sense of, in general, of not only just personality a little bit, but also the fact of them being power wise so similar. And we'll get into them. I'm going to break down each of their individual abilities and powers, and then go over who I think might win. And honestly, spoiler alert, I feel like it's very close. But we're going to talk about Deku first. So one of the big things is he is a incredible. How do I want to phrase this? He can learn pretty much anything from just watching other people. One of the biggest things he's been able to do is been able to watch other heroes fight and be able to utilize their abilities or fighting styles in because of that. He's done it where he's copied. Oh my gosh, um, I can't even think of his name now. That's gonna bother me. The guy with the explosions for hands. He makes explosions with his sweat. But anyway, he was able to copy some of his fighting abilities. Obviously, not his quirk, which are basically like mutant abilities in that universe, for the most part. So he's been able to kind of copy other people's fighting style. I guess the best way to phrase it. He's also a trained muscles. He trained with All Might for 10 months in order to get his body physically ready to just inherit the quirk. No, the quirk, one for all. So he was able to demonstrate the strength of 56 kilograms and the ability to run a 50-meter dash in 7.2 seconds. Obviously, with his other abilities, it increases exponentially. However, this is without any abilities added to him. So there was no other quirks or anything else added to him to be able to do that at this time. He's got one of the immense stamina out of all the characters in My Hero Academia. Um, he, especially in the beginning of him learning the abilities of his quirk, he was literally breaking bones with his quirk, and was able to continue to use his body even after being broken, which is just incredible in and of itself. And at one point, he teamed up with a girl with the ability to go back in time, to kind of stop things from happening. And so she was able to help him use his ability to fold max without him dying. However, he was still experiencing his body deteriorating, and she was just fixing it faster than he could break down his body. So he was feeling that the entire time, and was able to withstand and fight a massive villain, to be able to kind of fight that in general, and just being able to do that is incredible. He's been able to lift about 255 kilograms, as we talked about. He has immense speed and reflexes. Even without his full cowl, which we'll talk about later, he can react in time to defend against Shoto's ice, which supposedly can happen in literal blink of an eye. Um, he has immense durability, keen intellect. That's one of the biggest things here is he is one of the smartest and analytical and tactitious, I almost said creatures, but heroes in My Hero Academia. His ability to adapt in any situation has been incredible, far surpassing anybody else in there. And his leadership skills. He's somebody who you would never think to be a leader based on his, not being really, how do I want to phrase this? Not really thinking highly of himself, and because of that, been able to inspire so many others to kind of team up with him. And his will definitely can't be broken at all. So his former quirks. One for All, which was an ability passed down to him by All Might. The max he's been able to do, so what's called full cowl, which is him using the quirk throughout his entire body. Normally he's only been able to do it especially in the beginning, like small bursts in just his body, going full 100%. and causing massive destruction, but also destroying his body. However, in full cowl, he has his body using that energy all at once, without. Well, it does strain his body. However, it does not cause the same amount of destruction to his body as him going 100%. So he's been able to handle about 45% of his full power without breaking his bones. However, 30% was being his normal output for pretty much most, or at least at the end. One of the other issues or abilities, I guess you could say, with One for All is it compounds, it adds everyone's quirk that has been a previous user. So one of the big things here is apparently when he gets it, he's the first user of One for All to be able to use the quirks of all of the past heroes. So these quirks include Gear Shift, which is apparently the ability to change the speed or velocity of any target he touches, including himself. um, Fajin, which is apparently the ability to build up and store kinetic energy by performing repetitive movements. Basically, he can release the stored energy as an explosive burst of speed or power. Oh, and power. I do apologize. Danger Sense. He has the ability to, which should sound familiar. Um, This quirk allowed him to detect threats in the surrounding area. Due to the amplification of One for All, the detection caused a stabbing sensation in his head that took a toll on his body. Black Whip, one of the big ones here is it allows him to generate tendrils of black energy from his body that are good for grappling. It is useful for grabbing things from long distances, capturing opponents, and increasing his mobility. A lot of like web swinging, as you could see the kind of similarities here. He has smoke screen, which is literally a generation of a large, thick cloud of purple smoke from his body, and it just obstructs people's visions. And his final one is float. He has the ability to suspend himself in midair, granting him flight, which is kind of one I never knew he had. I also am not fully caught up in my heroes, so I do apologize. So obviously, his Detroit Smash, which is an incredible. He does it in the form of an uppercut instead of a full-on punch like All Might does. All of these are just incredible. In general, he's full cowl, which we talked about, puts all of his power inside of his body. He's been able to do all of these abilities at once. One for all, 45%. He's only been able to use this power of this ability, very in short distances, only due to the fact that his body's used to the 30% and 45%, I should say, is definitely difficult for his body to handle. He's been able to go 100%, although he's only been able to do so very rarely. And it has normally been having to help out with other people as well. As we talked about full cal in general, allowing him to increase his body in general, speed, stamina, and everything else to massive amounts of output. He also has the costume, looks like a bunny, which I find to be funny as all heck. He's got iron soles, he's got Air Force gloves, and mid gauntlets. Basically, a lot of armor in general. A lot of that reasoning is because his body, specifically his arms, because he's always going to be like, oh my, using his physical fists. I don't know why I said it that way, but using his fists more, which especially when he was learning to use that ability, he was causing a lot of damage to his arms. So that's why a lot of the times in later sessions or later, how do I want to phrase this, later arcs, he's been um, he's been using more kicks than anything else because he's rarely used his feet, although he is a very skilled fighter overall. So let us move on to Miles Morales because I know that a lot of those abilities are going to sound familiar based on what we're going to be talking about here. So he has spider physiology. He's granted with the abilities of a spider after being bitten by a spider which had been genetically modified by the Oz formula. Superhuman strength, he has the ability of lifting at least 10 pounds. Superhuman speed, um, he has a faster reaction. He was fast enough to reach an airplane as it was taking off. He has superhuman stamina. It takes a while for the fatigue toxins to kind of enter or kind of disperse in his body. He has superhuman durability. Um, he's been thrown through a brick wall without any apparent serious injury, although it was painful for him. He has superhuman agility, and he has the enhanced levels far beyond the physical limits of an Olympic level gymnast. Superhuman equilibrium. He has the ability to achieve a status of perfect equilibrium in any position. Um, Imagine. He seems to be able to adjust his position by instinct, which allows him to balance himself on virtually any object, no matter how small or narrow. He has superhuman reflexes. He has the ability to wall crawl. He has spider sense, which alerts him to dangers around him. He has radar sense. Um, Miles discovered that he can take this power to a deeper level by focusing his spider sense and using breathing techniques so he can see through solid matter to be aware of potential threats. However, it's still underdeveloped, but he has been able to only vaguely see what they look like. He has electricity generation. Apparently, he has the ability to output electricity from his body, which he's called venom blasts. He also has a mega venom blast. However, a mega venom blast uses so much energy all at once that it actually causes him to be fatigued right after. He has the ability to shoot it out as a beam. He can use it as a punch, and he can use it as a repulsion to kind of get people away from him. He's been able to create objects with it, whether it be a venom saber or even a energy thread, where he's able to use threads of electricity out of his hands. One of the big things here is he has camouflage, allowing him to sneak up on his enemies, in some cases flee from them. He has regeneration abilities, and he's has immortality. Norman Osborn believed immortality to be a side effect of the Oz formula because Miles's body was altered by the Oz formula. He could have such a power in theory, since both Norman and Peter did. However, has not been proven yet. His abilities, he's bilingual. He can speak both English and Spanish fluently. He's an expert in hand-to-hand combat. He has a great ability with investigation. He's a great swordsman, web swinging in general. And he now has PTSD thanks to Carnage, which is just wonderful to think about in general. So his equipment, his Spider-Man suit, his vibranium suit, which is hilarious to me to think about. He has web shooters because he cannot create webs himself. He can create like electrical ones, but they can't be used to swing around. And then he obviously has, I don't know why I said this as if it was obvious. I don't know why. So I do apologize. The Maker's card. After the Maker invited Miles to join him on Earth 6160, Miles refused, but the Maker gave him a blank card in case he changed his mind, and the card's function is still currently unknown. His web shooters are his mode of transportation. So one of the big things here is both these characters are very much young, um, characters who you really want to look up to because they started as, how do I want to phrase this, nobodies and became the greatest heroes or one of the greatest heroes in each of their universes. However, it comes down to who's actually going to win this death battle. And I feel like this is a difficult one because they're two very different universes. And because of that, it makes it very hard to figure out which one's actually going to win. My initial instinct was automatically going with um, Miles, just because of Marvel and the battles he's had, that I feel like he was going to automatically win. But after going more into it and seeing all the versatility that Deku has, I don't think Miles is going to have as easy of a time as I would have thought. When it comes to physical strength, I think Miles Morales outbeats him bar none. However, Deku has fought guys who were much stronger than him and prevailed because of his intellect, his adaptability, and everything else. So the strength alone is not going to be enough for Miles to win. He does have a classmate who uses electricity, which I would then make it seem like he would be able to um, kind of build up a resistance in and of itself. And there have been characters who have been resistant to his Venom Blast just because of sheer exposure to it. So that's a possibility as well. However, he'd still be repulsed. He still could be paused temporarily. I don't think it's going to completely negate the ability overall, but it definitely will be something that would definitely put a halt for us. It definitely wouldn't be an all-out stop for Jakku completely. And then we have his ability to go 100%. And I think that's the biggest factor of all, where although it will destroy his body, if he the question comes down to if he's given the opportunity and is able to go a full 100%, granted for that one punch or whatever it may be, would he be able to kill Miles Morales? And I feel like if it's a direct hit, Miles is going to die, or at least be very much severely damaged. Um, so this is where it gets really hard because I feel like although Miles is physically stronger overall, I feel like with Deku going 100%, I feel like he's then also stronger than Miles. And everything they kind of counter each other, all their abilities for the most part. They each have like a counter for the other. So because of that, altogether, with the web swinging, and Deku has that ability as well, but also then having the ability to fly, both able to sense danger. I feel like Deku is combat wise smarter and is able to defeat Miles Morales. So in the end, I definitely think that in Miles Morales is going to lose this fight to Deku, just due to the fact of Deku's ability to adapt mid-fight, and not to say Miles can't, but Deku is so skilled at it that he's only known how to do that. And although Miles has been able to do that, it Miles hasn't been able to adapt to the point where he's using the fighting styles and such of others to be able to fight his foes. Where Deku has been proven to do that time and time again, which would then be able to most likely be able to take out Miles Morales because of it. So let me know who you guys think is going to win this death battle, whether it's going to be Deku or Miles Morales, and let me know in the comments why, because I'm very curious about that piece. But either way, this death battle is going to be incredible, so I cannot wait to see it. But for now, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a wonderful night.